Thanks for streaming us. Well, Russian President Vladimir Putin is vowing to respond after a key bridge linking Russia to Crimea was destroyed. Video is showing the symbolic Kerch Bridge partially collapse in what Russia is calling an act of terrorism by Ukraine through the use of underwater drones. This comes as Ukrainian forces move forward in a major counteroffensive in and across the front lines. And during that operation, well, our James Longman got a first-hand look at a new mobile hospital saving the lives of nearly 50 Ukrainian soldiers a day. James traveled through the night with this mobile hospital team, speaking with a group of injured soldiers about the fighting and their lives outside the war.
This is the Ukrainian bus that saves 50 lives a week.
This guy's playing a video game. It's a war game.
Hi. Are you winning? Are you winning?
I'm always winning, he says. This specially designed mobile hospital is an adapted coach run by Ukrainian charity, the Hospitaliers. It runs all along the front line, collecting the most serious military casualties. Vitaly has a broken leg and shrapnel wounds on his arm. We were walking to the positions, he says, and they started shelling us with mortars. 3 drones spotted us, and we had nowhere to hide until we found a sewage pipe.
You were on the phone to your family now. You were calling them?
Yes,
yeah.
says Vitaly. I told them, thank God I'm alive. These wounds, they'll heal. On a cracked screen and with his wounded hand, Vitaly shows me the photo of his little girl.
So what you've got here is 2 men who are fighting for the same reasons, for their families, for their homes, for their children. But they have no idea how much longer this war is going to go on. They both say they'll keep fighting.
Most of these men were injured by Russian forces defending Bakhmut, a focus of Ukraine's counter-offensive.
Are you cold? You look cold.
We find Vladimir shivering in the breeze from an open window. The bus is traveling at speed through the night.
How are you feeling? You're still smiling.
I'm always positive, he says. I was near Bakhmut. I got a shrapnel wound to my side.
What is Russia doing so well to defend itself? Why is it so difficult to push through?
They're fighting with numbers, but we are fighting with our brains. And they just keep coming, like insects. You shoot at them, but they keep crawling towards you somehow. Vladimir's neighbor interrupts. It's because they have so many heavy weapons, he says, and they're so good at using drones. 5 to 7 minutes, if they spot you, you're dead. Maria runs this bus. We see multiple fractures, mine and shell injuries. Yesterday we had a couple of soldiers with traumatic brain injuries.
How old are you?
23.
23?
Yes.
Oh my God. And there are a lot of people fighting. It's one thing to fight. It's another thing to see so many men injured. So many men in such pain. What's that like for you?
You get used to it, she says. We're just doing our jobs. Unfortunately, this is our reality in Ukraine. When the bus arrives, these men are transferred to the care of waiting hospital staff. I speak to one of the doctors.
I don't know how we can live after this. We see too much dead people. We see what will be with this soldier who lose some leg or hand. These people need help and need something recovery for after this, because it's not just they lose some hand, they lose brain.
And are you worried about the impact on you? Your brain?
No, my brain, everything's okay.
Yeah?
Yes, with my brain is okay. We doctors.
Your brain is okay?
Yeah.
How is your heart?
Heart okay too. Yes, okay.
And our James Longman joining me now from Dnipro, Ukraine for more. James, how many Ukrainian soldiers do you think have been saved so far thanks to this mobile hospital?
Well, Kira, they say between 50 and 75 a week. So that is something like 1,300 lives saved since the beginning of this war. It is pretty extraordinary to think. It's a pretty special bus. There aren't many like that here. It's named the Austrian, by the way. You can see the eyes of a woman on the side of the bus with the sunflowers around it. That's a symbol of Ukraine, and that's after one of their volunteers who sadly died trying to evacuate injured soldiers. It was her call sign, if you like, and that's why that bus is called the Austrian. But what really strikes you about all this is it's charities. It's charities here in Ukraine that they really do rely on. When we were standing outside that bus, we were waiting for the ambulances to arrive from the front line, and they will come from all kinds of different charities. The coordination involved in this. One of them was from Doctors Without Borders, another from a separate international organization with representatives here in Ukraine. Ukraine needs to cobble together this kind of coalition of help, this coalition of charitable organizations, because it is up against something enormous. The Russian war machine is absolutely huge, and Ukraine has had to be creative, ingenious really in its defense. And this, what we saw last night, was exactly that. Keeping these men alive and hopefully putting them back on the battlefield, that is how Ukraine is going to keep going and ultimately win this war. Because we've had more than 500 days of this. It could well go for another 500 days and more. So this service is absolutely crucial. Kira?
And what type of injuries can they treat? Everything from what to what? I mean, can they do full-fledged surgeries in there if necessary, James?
Well, it's a stabilization unit, but they are on the road for minimum 2 hours. They could be on the road for up to 6 hours. And the lady who runs the bus, you saw her there, she is just 23 years old. And she said she had 2 injuries just last night with men who'd come on where she could see their brains, their skulls had been cracked open by presumably some kind of a mortar attack. So it's pretty advanced care that they can give on this bus, but the whole point of it is to keep them alive until they can get to a hospital, which could be, like I said, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours away. Ukraine is a vast, vast country. Kira?
It's incredible. Well, we mentioned the ongoing counteroffensive. What difference this is actually making on the battlefield. Tell us what else you're paying close attention to right now as you are now based in Dnipro.
Yeah, the counteroffensive, it's interesting, isn't it? We've been hearing about it for so long. We hear that it's going more slowly than the Ukrainians would have liked, but there was a UK intelligence report out just recently which said that the Ukrainians have now taken something like 80 square miles of territory, retaken territory from the Russians, 7 square miles in just the last week. So it's slow going. But as you heard there from some of those men who we met, you know, they find that the Russians are learning and adapting on the battlefield. They're using more anti-personnel mines and they're using drones to great effect. So they send these drones up, they spot where the Ukrainians are, and then they pound them with artillery shells. And it's worth repeating here, you know, just the amount of resource that Russia has, the number of shells, the amount of ammunition, and the number of men. One man there said, Vladimir, he said, they just keep coming. They're like insects. We can't stop them. And that's the real sense you get. They're up against this horde, and it's relentless. Kira?
Our James Longman there in Dnipro, Ukraine. Great reporting. James, thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.